So welcome down to the garage. I got my beautiful wife here, and as you can see, we have our beers, so it's a discussion video. She's drinking St. Arnold Harmony. It's a hazy IPA. I'm drinking St. Arnold Art Car IPA. We just came back from Texas, so representing hometown of Houston, you know what I mean? Good beer.
I'm not going to drink the same time you are.
Ron's wants no proof.
Yeah.
All right, so in this one, we're going to be discussing the Harley Davidson 2022 reveal that's coming up January 26th. So to start it off, we're going to talk about the launch date. So for those of you who don't know, January 26th is a Wednesday, and it's at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday. So yeah, let's just talk about the date.
You know, old people are going to go see it.
Yeah, so, like, if you're going to appeal to a younger generation or, like, anyone, we have jobs. So, like, a Wednesday at 10 in the morning is not really the time to do a launch event. Especially for, like, the most recognizable, like, American motorcycle brand in the world. Like, if you put that stuff on, like, a Friday night or, like, a Saturday afternoon, then your dealerships can have actual launch events. Like, I remember last year's launch event, they were set up for it, but, like, no one showed up.
Yeah. Well, I think, like, we've mentioned it before, or I've discussed it with you before, about how, like, Harley Davidson and their dealerships always try to, like, make it seem like they want it to be a place where bikers will hang out. Like, we'll go ride to the Harley and we'll go have a cup of coffee or get our hair cut or something like that. So then they make a launch event for a Wednesday evening, like, or afternoon even.
Morning.
A Wednesday.
10 in the morning.
Wednesday morning. Like,
Yeah.
nobody's going to grab their buddies on their bikes and go to Harley Davidson to watch a launch event Wednesday morning. Yeah. Like, if they wanted to do that, they need to do it on a Friday or a Saturday where you can grab your buddies, we can go down to the Harley, we can go to an event, like, we can have some beers, we can all sit around, they can pull on a big screen and we can all watch a launch event and, like, talk about it and discuss about it. But if you're going to do it on a Wednesday morning, no one's going to show up. You know what's going to show up? Old retirees.
Well, their client base, retired 50-year-olds, yeah.
The client base they're trying to get away from, yet are still catering to.
Yeah, I mean, like, everyone's going to be working on a Wednesday at 10 in the morning because if we don't work, then we can't afford the overly priced motorcycles. Like, you know what I mean? So the next thing is we'll just make the mention of, you know, what the launch event is going to have. So models going away. Sport Glide is going away and the Sportsters are going away. So the Sportster-s, kind of like they alluded to, is the new Sportster. It's got the Revolution Max engine, the frame embedded engine, that's your frame component engine. I don't know how they're going to phrase it, but you know, they're going away with it. And the traditional Sportster, which is the Evo engine, same type of engine that's in your 98. So I get it. It's time for the Sportster to move on. Not really sad about that one. But the Sport Glide, so I don't know if you remember when the Sport Glide first came out, it didn't have color matched bags. It had to look the same, but the bags were just like not painted the same color as the bike. But last year, they did a whole new color scheme for it. Last year, they did the color matched bags, and it looks good. It looks good. Like, the Sport Glide's not bad as a bike. It's a soft tail bike that's kind of like... He's distracted.
He's going to do the entire video, and you're going to hear in the background. That's our kid, by the way. He's like 5 months old. He just learned how to buzz his lips. He's going to be over in the corner, like, making so much noise.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's cute.
It's a family event. But yeah, so, like, I don't know why they're axing it when they just made a new color match thing. It was popular. I mean, they don't sell well because, like, in my opinion, why would I buy a Softail with a little fairing that doesn't do anything? It's just for aesthetics in small hard bags when I can buy the Heritage, which has leather saddlebags, the windshield, all the, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, they're not breaking my heart either way, because I don't think I ever had any interest in either of the Sport Glide or the Sportster.
well, they're all the Sportsters.
Yeah, like that whole family.
Yeah,
So.
and I mean the Sportsters had emissions problems because Evo engine and with, you know, European like standards cranking down and the whole EV market exploding. It makes sense. So, but new models. So, The Sportster 975, since we were just talking about the Sportster-s,
Okay.
and the one we just watched earlier today in the video, I kind of like it. It looks exactly like a Sportster with just the Revolution Max engine in it. And the right side of the Evolution Max engine, the side that, exposes when you put the kickstand down on the left, looks great. It does. It looks good. It's got the V-twin. It's a new style of engine. It has the transmission in there. Like, it looks great. The other side, not so much. It's just like an exposed ignition, like, system and, like, just nothing. It's just nothing there. It's just like they just didn't care. Like, at least the other ones had a horn on the other side. All the stuff was tucked away. So, just a little thing like the Pan American Sportster-s had for me, but, like, it's a 975cc, so that's where the name comes from. So not quite the 1250, but like it's compact. But yet the water cooler is like off. I don't know. I'm not like really mad about it. It's just like it looks like a Sportster with a little bit of extra stuff and bad pipe design. I don't like the pipe designs that they're choosing. Like I don't like the pipe designs. Like the Sportster-s, like so I sat on it and it was wide. It was wide. That bike was thick. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was thick. Like, it was surprisingly, like, wide for how small it was. But, like, when I got on it, I made it look like a little, like, kid's toy. Yeah. So I'm 6'1.5", so, like, and I made it look like a kid's toy. It was unrideable for me. It was unrideable. I thought it was
bigger than It's bigger in person than it is on all the videos and everything else.
Big, though. It's wide,
chunky.
But it's not
it
big.
It is chunky, but...
It's unrideable for me.
What wasn't the issue that you had with the 975 as well as that you weren't going to be able to put forward controls on it because of the cooler, right?
Yeah, so like the way the oiler cooler comes down is it goes from like right where the top of the highway bar would connect to the frame if there was a frame, down all the way to the bottom where the forward controls would connect, and then the pipe wraps around the bottom of the engine and around the side, so it really accents the engine. The head pipes do. But then it goes into a 2 and a 1. But the muffler is the same thing they did with the Sportster-s muffler. It's gigantic. Because when I sat on it, my leg was right against the pipes. I get it, it's cafe racer style, but I don't ever remember seeing a flat track racing bike that had like pipes like that back then. It didn't exist. Like it was obnoxious. I did not like the pipes. Small thing I know, but like. The pipes on the 975 I'm not really worried about because it's a muffler. You can just remove it. You can just get 2 continuations, whatever. But like, it doesn't look like it's meant for taller people, which is kind of contradictory because like, I don't have many male friends that are shorter than 5'10". Most of them are my height or taller. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of female like friends and coworkers who are your height, 5'8" or taller.
Yeah, well, it's
we're not small people.
I guess you could say it's like they don't want to commit to the sportier look of a sports bike where you would have to lean forward and put the foot pegs to the back.
Yeah.
Yet, so they're still trying to have you sit upright on the bike with the mid controls.
Very V-Rod FXDR.
Yeah.
FXDS, I think is what it was called.
But in order to fit somebody your size... Or like a man who, like you're saying, is like 5'4" or taller, you might need to go with a more just go ahead and commit to the sportier look and have people lean forward.
Yeah, like even your bike with the mid controls is still like a little bit, like it's almost unrideable for me. I can ride it.
Yeah.
But it is not comfortable in the slightest.
That's fine because I can ride it.
Yeah. But like for me, like if it doesn't have further forward mids or forward controls or like the option, it's not rideable. It's not like marketable for me. Not to say that I don't like it, it's just like my thoughts on it. I'm glad they're not killing the Sportster because I do like the Sportster. I do think it makes good choppers and like custom bikes because they're just so like easy to modify.
We're talking about someone making a chopper out of a brand new bike, which would never happen, but not at $16,000.
Hey, Orange County chopper is not a thing anymore. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it because like the Sportster needs to change, Harley needs to change. The Revolution engine puts out way more horsepower as a base model engine than the Evo did by any means, and the twin cam. It's a better engine. It just is. Like, you know what I mean? It's a better engine. Let's talk about the new reveal bike that they released the trailer on that looks like a Lowrider-S with a FXR fairing. So if y'all don't know, they released a teaser. It's a Lowrider-S looking bike, kind of. Not really. They did a bunch of shadows and darkened all the areas, but like it's either going to be a Lowrider-S or a Sportster-S with some sort of fairing in it, so it automatically eliminates the Sportster. So it's a lowrider S with an FXR fairing. The same thing that everybody's been modding to their lowrider S's and their Dynas to make anyway. Yeah, so side note, and then we'll hit on this one. Just I guess gotta say it before. If everybody buys your old motorcycles because they love them, the FXRs, the Dynas, the Shovelhead, Ironhead Sportsters because they're classic and vintage, because you went away from it, you should probably go back. It goes to listening to their customer base, but that's just me. Whatever.
A little aggressive, babe.
Yeah, I know, but we'll hit that. We'll hit that on the other point. But yeah, I think that a lowrider S with a fairing, the FXR fairing, is just natural. Like, touring bikes are too expensive. The lowrider S is a super popular bike. It's amazing. I love it. It looks great. So putting a fairing on it just makes sense.
Once again, if you want to cater to the newer audience, if you want young people to buy it, going to the vintage style is 100% what you need to do, because every single one of us is all nostalgic. Yeah. Like, we love the nostalgia. Like, please put an FXR from the fairing from the 1980s on a lowrider S, and everyone will think it's the coolest shit ever.
Yeah, and then they make so many aftermarket saddlebags for it. You can put some that just go into the seat. You can buy mounting brackets. You can get little mesh line. You can get hard bags. You can get leather. There's so many options, and that's I think it's just a natural progression. Now, what I think they're gonna do is they're already gonna take the $19,000 price range, and they're gonna jack that puppy up to be touring model price, because you're adding a fairing, which is going to be the downside. You either need to lower the price of the lowrider S and then release the fairing model at the same price, or you need to because then why would I buy a bike that has a fairing for $23,000 when I can just buy a standard street glide or road glide? What's the point?
Yeah, and
what's the point? It's so dumb. It's the same size engine, it's the same 114. You know what I mean? It has the fairing. It didn't say it had a radio in it or an infotainment center, but I know the road glide would. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why would I? And it has hard bags. I could delete them if I wanted to. It just doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? But it's a natural step, and I get it. And the lowrider S is still in its infancy. As my model, it hasn't been out that long. Really, it's basically a dyno lowrider, but they just put it on a Softail frame. So it hasn't really been out that long. 2017 or 2016 was the last year they made the dyno lowrider S. So then they released the lowrider S a year after they discontinued. It makes sense. I get it. It makes sense. Not really that huge of a thing. But what is interesting, and I kind of don't agree with this, is the ordering system. So what they're doing is they are allowing you to go on and essentially reserve a bike. So you go online, you reserve your bike, put $500 down or whatever the case is, and then you kind of pick the style and stuff or whatever. Say I wanted a street glide, right? For instance, so I would say I want a street glide. I'd want whatever I want to get it. Then the dealer contacts you. The dealer contacts you and says, "Okay, hey, come in for a consultation, and then we'll build the bike for you, right? And then you'll order it straight from the factory like that." So I kind of went on the bike builder, I was scrolling through the ad on Instagram or whatever, so I just checked it out for, just for kicks and giggles, and it was all Harley parts. If I'm going to customize a bike, I'm not going to have a stock Harley Davidson seat on it. So a lot of the options that I was going through, for one, were okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and put the heated grips on there. I'll put all the, whatever stuff, right? The base stuff that I could get from Harley or whatever, and then I'll pick the color or whatever, and, I'll get it. But, to me, what that screams is that they're not going to flood the stores with new bikes. Yeah. They're just going to do made to order and then have enough bikes out. And I've seen several YouTubers talk about it, several dealers talk about it, how they're going to increase their stock a little bit to have 50 days worth of motorcycle stock for your walk-in buys, but they're going to really rely on this ordering system, which I don't disagree with right now, with the backlog, with microchips being in short supply, with other things, some parts are backlog. I get it. It makes sense. It's a way to deal with it, so I'm not super upset about it. But what I don't like about it is that it's almost like a premium brand kind of thing, but Harley Davidson's not there yet, and nor should it be. So Ferrari, Lamborghini, you got McLaren, right, Renault, right? You got to order those things, right? And then they build them and they ship it to you, right? or whatever. Like, that's kind of what it's like. It's like, I'm not buying a nice Bentley. I'm going to buy a Harley Davidson.
Well, my issue is, like, yeah, I get that. But also when you're buying a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, a Ducati, you know what you're getting. You don't need to, like, there's nothing to customize. When it comes to Harleys, like, that's why people love Harleys, is that they can customize them.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to go with my buddies and go to a Harley and sit on a bunch of bikes and figure out what I like, right?
Yeah.
So if they have encouraged dealers and dealerships to only sell new bikes. They don't want you selling any used bikes anymore.
Yeah,
right.
Their buyback
and
program.
now they're making this an order. You have to order your bike now. So they're literally gonna have nothing on the floor and expect people to go in and want to buy a bike.
Yeah, I
know what they want to.
Well,
that's the thing. Like, even when I was buying new handlebars, I sat on so many bikes to figure out what kind of handlebars I wanted and what length of handlebars I wanted.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be able to do that when I go to a dealership anymore.
So they're not wanting to, like, get rid of the come-in thing. They're just trying to, like, the people that are, like, me, you and me, right? So, like, now I've owned, like, you know, this
once again, not catering to the audience that they need to if they want to make new sales.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not the typical, like, 27-year-old, right? Like, grew up around bikes. I got it. So I know what I want. Like, I walked into the dealer. He's like, oh, what can I help you with? I said, I want a street glide. He was like, oh, really? I was like, what? I was like, yeah, I own an electric glide. I want this, this, and this. I want to get the handlebars built into the financing. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not the normal, right? So, like, I get it. So, like, this is more for, like, me. If I wanted the snake venom, right? Or if I wanted
once again, riders that have always been riding.
Yeah, so...
Not new riders.
Exactly.
Not new kids, not young kids, not any of that. Because, like, as a young person going into a dealership, having just gotten my motorcycles license... just rode, like, the
course, the basic rider's course.
The basic rider's course. I don't know, you're just going to walk into... You're not even going to be able to sit on any bikes.
Yeah.
Like, your dealer, you're making it harder for your salesman to sell a bike when there's no bikes for those people to sit on.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I get it, though. It is a good way to deal with inventory shortages.
Yeah, no,
it is a great way
I understand what's going on, but at least... If you're going to do that, then you have to have used bikes at least.
You do.
Like, you have to have some sort of bike on the floor.
Yeah,
so that way, even if he sits on
a
used bike, and then they're like, okay, so the newer edition that this bike is like is this one, and we'll have to custom order that. So now we can sit down and we can custom order your bike, and then, you know, whoever can feel special about custom ordering.
I agree.
And you can do, like, the whole luxury thing, even though it's, once again, not catering to the audience that they're wanting to commit. They need to commit to catering to.
I agree with that. I see both sides, I guess. Like, I'm not mad about it. I think it's a good thing to have in general, just because it makes buying for someone who knows what they want easier. So speaking about newer markets, though, right? Like, the last topic we have is, like, the Harley Davidson Bronx, and the other non-traditional Harleys, right? So Harley Davidson has tried to do this before. They had the V-Rod, which I personally liked. They had the FXDR, which is another muscle bike. They've done 2 muscle bikes, and then they did they had a dirt bike way back in the day in, like, the 70s. You know, they've tried other things. So they're also trying to do the Bronx. So in, like, Street Fighter, and, you know, they have the Sportster-s, which is, like, a step towards the Bronx. So the Bronx is essentially a naked bike by Harley, right? They did the same thing with the Livewire as well. The Pan America is another great example. They're trying to breach into new emerging markets. So my personal opinion on this is, I think that it's good for Harley Davidson to branch out. I think that motorcycles are great. There's different flavors for everybody. You know what I mean? I am not an adventure touring person, but I do think the Pan America does look nice. It looks nice. Is it a little more overpriced when you're trying to break into a competitive market? Maybe. You should probably undercut the market with a really good product. That way you can get your foot in, get your sales up, but that's just me. What I don't think is the right thing is to Harley Davidsonize everything, right? So, like, everything is, oh, it's a Harley, it'll sell, right? Oh, it's a Harley, let me put Harley all over it. Let me put Harley all over it. Like, the adventure touring bike with the Harley stuff all over it, I was like, okay, it's a little obnoxious, because when you look at the BMW, the Kawasaki, they just have their badge on it, that's it, right? Like, the V-Rod.
Harley does that with every bike, though.
Yeah, but, like...
You can, like, look at your bike and find, like, 6 different logos of Harley.
Yeah, but, like, if you're gonna... My thing, what I'm getting at is, like, if you're going to go into emerging markets, you have to go into what the norm is at the market with a good product that's competitively priced, or even better, undercut the price so that way you can sweep sales, right? And the way you do that is if you want to make a naked bike, you just make a naked bike. You don't Harley Davidsonize it and then put a premium price tag on it, right? Like,
yeah, my thought is either undercut it or you have to have something that's innovative. I don't think they have either of those.
So I think that they do, and they've tried to in the past, but like at the times they did it, like the V-Rod was ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
The V-Rod was an engine designed by Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
The thing was fast.
Mm-hmm.
They made a race, the Screaming Eagle V-Rod, that was designed for drag strip racing. It wasn't even street legal, and it was super fast. They also broke, like, because they were so powerful. But like, they've done it, and they've done it well, but they did it too soon. They did it 10 years ago when they should have been doing it 4 years from now. You know what I mean? Or right now, right? Like, with emerging markets. So like, you know, but I think that the biggest thing that's killing them with this is if you're going to release a new bike, it needs to be electric or hydrogen. Like, it's just, it is what it is. Like, gasoline motorcycles are just not going to last.
But the electric bike that they did put out, the live wire,
it's too expensive.
It didn't do well.
Well, it's too expensive, and the range sucked. If it could
go... I mean, people said that it went fast. So everything I've seen was like, it went fast, it was super fun to ride. I've never seen anyone say anything other than that. But if it's too expensive, once again, nobody can ride it.
Yeah, it was $30,000.
Like, I'm not
going to... It was more expensive than this thing.
Once again, am I going to buy a live wire electric bike that doesn't have a good range? It goes fast, cool. Or am I going to buy a touring bike that everyone recognizes that I think of as Harley Davidson? I think that's the other thing as well, and I've talked about it before, but it's like, when, as a new rider, because I've only been riding for 2 years, when I thought of Harley Davidson, I thought of like the traditional Harley Davidson. When I wanted to go buy a Harley Davidson, I wanted to go buy a Harley. I didn't want to go in and buy an electric bike or a naked bike or anything else.
Yeah.
So you're, once again, cutting off the audience of new riders.
Yeah, I think that riding the nostalgia train will only go so far. Like, so for instance, here, like, scooter.
No, like if you can make a bike like this and make it a electric bike or a hydrogen bike, you would buy it.
Well, so
now $30,000 probably not, but
what I'm getting at is like this thing right here, right? 6-gallon gas tank, 114 cubic inch engine. That's a pretty stock engine, right? To get the equivalent range of like about 300 miles, if it's, I think it's like 53 about 50 miles a gallon, right? For 6 is 300 miles, right? To get the equivalent of this gas tank, all of this engine all the way back underneath in like one of these saddlebags would have to be a battery to get close to that. Like, because the live wire, if you remember, it was like this. The whole thing was a battery. It has a little bitty motor. Mm-hmm. Hydrogen, way better, by the way. Like, you could just replace, like, you can have the motor or whatever, and then you could just put the hydrogen tank underneath here or make this the hydrogen tank, whatever the case, right? Then you have the charging. It's much easier, faster. It's like 5 minutes or whatever. Like, then you could do it, and it'll still have an exhaust or whatever. But, like, to me, developing new models of motorcycles, good, you have the Revolution Max, it's better, it'll do emissions. You got probably 20 more years with gas, right? Like, that you can go for. But, like, if you put the 1250 Revolution Max into the naked bike, you have some good, you got moderately good horsepower, right? You know what I mean? You're going to have some good looking bike or whatever, but like, you're still putting old tech in new motorcycles. Like, even Ferrari, Lamborghini, McLaren, Renault, Ducati, they're all going electric, hybrid, or hydrogen.
Luxury ones, though. Like, those are luxury bikes.
They are, but even Toyota is no longer, like, I think it's a 2024, they're going to stop making gasoline engines.
Aren't we getting off what you were supposed to be talking about?
Well,
anyways?
I'm talking about other non-traditional, like, Harleys and breaking into those emerging markets, because the Bronx is a naked bike. It's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a naked bike. And, like, Kawasaki and Honda do it better, and they have the market, right? So, like, breaking into those, you're going to have to do more than just be like, here's a naked bike that's made by Harley Davidson.
No, yeah, you have to have something that's innovative. Like I said, you have to undercut, or you have to have something that's super innovative that everyone's going to want. So if you have people like us who are looking towards finding something that's electric or hydrogen, then yeah, maybe you need to make your naked bike electric or hydrogen. But I'm not going to buy a naked bike from Harley, period, if it's $30,000. I'm going to buy a touring bike from Harley for $30,000 because when I go to Harley for these kinds of bikes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just interested in all this because like they're gonna release something at the launch event that's gonna be new. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's just gonna be the 975. I don't know if they're gonna go with the Bronx. I don't know if they're gonna go with like a Street Fighter. You know what I mean? They're gonna release something to try and break into those emerging markets with non-traditional Harleys. You know what I mean? So like, I'm just curious because like to me, a non-traditional Harley is something keeping up with the market. It's hydrogen. It's electric. And I don't think the Livewire failed. I think that they just failed to do what we said about the Lowrider S with the FXR pairing.
I have issues with their marketing department because I think if they marketed it correctly, it would have been fine. And I believe that them taking their name off of it and letting, I don't know what company it was that actually Harley owns.
Which one?
But they're going to sell it under Livewire, not Harley, and watch those bikes disappear because, once again...
They don't have the parent company to oversight them.
Well, no, not only that, but like if you take the Harley out of it, then it's just a Livewire electric bike, and it's a new emerging bike, and people are going to want to go buy it. The people who are looking for electric bikes will go buy it. People who are looking for electric bikes aren't going to go to Harley. Until...
It's true.
Like I said, once again, like when I go into Harley, I'm looking for a Harley bike. I'm not looking for an electric bike.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure they're doing fine now.
Well, I mean, I don't even know if you can buy them really that readily available. But like,
that's sad.
I mean, the dealerships can't even get rid of the ones they have. It's just interesting because every time they've come out with a non-traditional Harley to break into an emerging market, the only one that's been really successful is the Pan America, and I say really successful. It's not even been out for a year yet. But it's had more success than, like, the V-Rod did.
I think it looks good, and it's also innovative. I've seen, like, not only that, but they pushed it really hard. I think the marketing, once again, the marketing was good there because they did involve a lot of YouTubers, like motovloggers, to push it.
A lot of social media
I think they sold it really well. Yep, yeah. I think they sold it very well. And they're going to have to do that with all these other bikes. I mean... It's an innovative bike. I like the way, like you said, I like the way that it looks.
Yeah,
I like what it's able to do. They sold it well.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to put that much effort into every other bike that they do.
Yeah,
it's going to be different if it's going to be new.
If I wasn't on leave this time for the Harley launch event, there's no way I missed it last year because they did the same thing.
We
ended
up
on a Wednesday and
watching it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think it was actually a Friday night that we decided to watch because we're like, why don't we just make an event ourselves instead of having to go to a Harley? And we watched it like a Friday night.
Yeah, I want the launch event to show the new direction because all the other launch events for Toyota, for Chevrolet, especially for Ford's going nuts right now with their launch events.
Truck.
Yeah, they have the electric truck. They have their wannabe Mustang that they're calling a Mach-E, whatever nonsense that is. But I just want to see Harley they have the new CEO. Who's doing very well. My Harley shares have been going up, which is great. But, I want to see them step outside their comfort zone and, really get to something that's new, but still Harley. Mm-hmm. It's a hard thing to ask. It really is. And I don't have the answers, so it's kind of hypocritical for me to be like, you need to do better, Harley Davidson. But, they need to, they need to step outside the box. They just do. They need to. They need to make that better.
They are stepping outside the box. They just had to be able to market it better.
I think so, but I just think they're not changing fast enough. Ford jumped on the bandwagon, and Toyota's jumping on the bandwagon.
Once again,
BMW,
Harley
their
has
entire
to commit.
Line.
Harley has to commit.
They're not committing.
Yeah, once you commit and you deep dive and sorry. I guess they're going to have to alienate some of their older customers, but sorry guys, it's a new world.
They're all buying trikes. You know what I mean? You can fit a battery in a trike. Are you kidding? You know how much space there is? Get rid of that trunk. You got 300 miles right there.
You have to commit if you're going to go with new bikes, if you're going to go electric bikes, you're going to go hydrogen bikes, you're going to go with naked bikes, all this other stuff. You're going to have to make your launch event for a Friday evening for everyone to come and ride. You got to commit if you're going to do it. If you want a new audience, if you want a new customer base, that's the way to do it. You're right. Make different bikes, make innovative bikes, make all that other stuff. but you have to fully commit to that.
Yeah,
And it's going to alienate some of their customers, and they're probably going to be mad about it. But like, that being said, if you're buying Harleys for 20 freaking years and you're now 60 years old, you're always going to buy a Harley. Like you're going to put that trike kit on your bike. So
this is true.
You're not going to lose that customers. You're not going to lose those customers. What you're going to do is gain more customers by just fully committing to the new innovative things that are coming out and doing it well and marketing it well.
Yeah, I'm excited for the launch event. I'm just going through the things, the new releases, the models that are going away, the ordering system, all that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to be like negative, like I don't like Harley, because I do love Harley. I've been cliche tattoo of a Harley, right? A Harley Davidson logo on me, so you know what I'm saying. Like,
trying to convince your wife to get one.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm all about the brand. I'm about the brand. I'm committed.
I'm about the brand too. Let's sell more T-shirts, guys.
Yeah, like I would just like to see a touring bike I just like to see something new. So I'm excited for the launch event. If you like what you've seen here, like, comment, subscribe. This is my beautiful wife. I'll link her channel in the description below. So I'll catch you all in the next one.